Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 235-member Michigan Marching Band. Band, take the field. Under the direction of Professor Jamie L. Nix, the N Fanfare.
All right. Got my football. I got my old khaki pants, bobblehead. It's going to be a collector's item one day. Of course, on the back it says, "Who's got it better than us?" Well, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. First of all, please like the stream. Please share it, and please subscribe to the channel. I apologize for starting a little bit late here. I, was multitasking, and I had to get another set of push-ups in and those kinds of things. So here we are. Just give me 1 second here. I like to look at this on my screen and on my phone. It looks like I dropped down to 0 viewers. That's okay. I turn this off. Just give me 1 second. Boom. Okay, so I can watch the live chat here and on my phone. So today is November 22nd, 2020. I want to thank everyone who's over in the live chat right now. I see first and foremost, we have Abdul Gaines over there. Before we jump into last night's game, I want to say a couple things. First of all, I want to thank everyone who's come to this channel and who's come to these live streams, whether you are a blue backer or whether or not you've had something snarky to say about our team and our program and our coach and whatever. I just want to thank everyone who's come here and supported the channel in your own way. This quarantine has been an experience for everybody. We almost did not have any Big Ten football this year, and doing live streams like this where you have a regular set of people coming in, because right now there's a regular set of people who are coming back, and where you have new people coming in. This means something for me. I mean, this gives me a chance to interact with you all, and this gives me this allows me to put my mind on something else and positively occupy my time. And there are a lot of people struggling right now because they don't know how to occupy their time with their, in some instances with their jobs gone, and with some instances not being able to go outside and socialize the way that they're used to. So I want to thank everyone who has been here and who has come here and who has supported the channel and the streams. I see that last night I went from 448 subs. Here we are. I went from 448 subs up to 451. So three more people subscribed. I appreciate that. I lost 3, sometime this week. So I'm back over the 451 mark. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Right now, I am sitting at 451. And I like to, so the next milestone for me is 500. I'd like to get to 500 sometime soon. Okay. So I wanted to say that. The other thing was Alex, who's become my wingman from the Buckeye Nation. I suspect he'll stop through sometime within the next 2 hours. I plan to go for about 2 hours. I'm doing a double header today. Over the second live stream will be over on my science channel. And Alex asked me about my other channels. I put in the description box below my other 3 channels. I have an original channel. I have a science and technology channel because I'm a scientist, where I talk about science-related topics. And I have an entertainment and media channel where I just talk about stuff like the Avengers and Star Trek, and recently the Transformers movie from 1986. I think someone here got frustrated a couple of weeks ago because we kind of went off into the bushes and started talking about the Avengers. But I have 3 more channels, and those are in the description box below. Maybe if and when Alex comes on, and I can divert my attention somewhere else, I'll drop those links in the chat. But I have 3 other channels, and those are in the description box below. Okay, let's talk about Michigan versus Rutgers from last night. Okay, so the Maize and Blue went down to New Brunswick, New Jersey, and they escaped with a 48-42 win. They were the spread in Athlon Sports. In the spread in Athlon Sports, they were picked to win by 10.5 points, and they escaped with a 6-point victory. But I think what we're going to spend most of the time this morning talking about is how they escaped with that 6-point victory. One other thing before I jump in, if you guys want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App is in the description box below as well. That's at various points. I might leave it in the chat. You're not under any pressure to give anything. If you want to throw $1 in, 25 cents, whatever, you're welcome to do that. But I think the majority of the discussion will be about how the Wolverines escaped with that 48-42 victory. And to open this discussion up, I'm going to read 2 items from my unofficial show producer, Abdul Gaines, who's right there in the chat right now, who is a very, very passionate Michigan fan, just like all of you. And I woke up this morning to this text, and I hope Abdul Gaines doesn't mind, but he gives me so much material. Harbaugh should still be fired. He won't, but he should be. How badly did Harbaugh and his coaching staff evaluate the quarterback position so poorly? So in other words, how did they miss each of the times Cade McNamara has gone in there to spell Joe Milton? Cade has been able to move the ball and move the offense in a way that it seems like Joe has not been able to do. And so I'm going to talk about that, and I'm certain that's going to be the meat and potatoes of what we talk about today. But also I'm going to read a tweet from Abdul Gaines. I'm sure he won't mind. This is on Twitter. He stated that Michigan benched their starting QB for a second straight week. The Wolverines had to put together a comeback victory on the road against a 1-3 team while doing so, with a head coach who's in year 6 and entered the game on a 3-game losing streak. Is that cause for excitement? Okay. You guys can start answering that in the chat if you want to. So there are a couple of things there. First of all, as far as I'm concerned, a W is a W. And for our team and for our program, it was good to get a W, and it was good to stop that free fall, albeit temporarily. So you have 2 camps of, as usual, you have 2 camps of fans right now. You have the group that Abdul Gaines resides in. You have the Tiki Torch group, who at this point doesn't believe Jimmy can do anything right at this time. And then you have the I'll call them the pro Jimmy group, who says, oh yeah, just give Jimmy more time. This is an asterisk year. Jimmy's going to turn it around. Jimmy's going to get it done. Jimmy's our guy. So you have 2 camps of Michigan fans right now. And some feel like, whoo, we got the win last night. And others feel like this is still a disgrace. So let's talk a little bit about last night's game. I'm going to focus most of my attention on the quarterbacks, because I think that is at the eye of the storm, at least for this year. We can blame Don Brown. We can take shots at his defense and his young corners. But my feeling is that with offensive production like we got last night, we could have beaten Michigan State, and we could have at least taken Indiana down to the wire, if not beat them. Wisconsin, I don't know. Wisconsin, yeah, I'll say the same thing for Wisconsin. If we had offensive production like we had last night when Cade McNamara got in there, we could have at least kept the Wisconsin game close, or maybe even pulled it out. You can tell me if I'm full of crap, if I'm blowing smoke in the chat right there, but that's just how I feel. So let's talk a little bit about now that we have Abdul Gaines's 2 cents out of the way for now. Let's talk about last night's game and this Cade McNamara kid. I'm gonna have to shoot a pre-record. Oh my goodness, my chat is on delay. Alex Dilworth says no. Well, I don't know if this is a system error or malfunction, Alex, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these no's here. I don't think this is a system error. I think, yeah, you intentionally meant to type all those in here, and when you come in, you could tell us why you so passionately feel this way. But let's talk about the change of quarterbacks. So at the beginning of the season, the feeling was that Super Joe was going to be the guy. I bought the Joe Milton stock right away based upon his measurables, his size, his athletic ability, his strong arm. I bought the Joe Milton stock right away. And my position is not to trash the kid because I was never talented enough to play any sport at a Power 5 conference. So as I'll describe, I think we need to be careful in trashing these kids. But I bought the Joe Milton stock right away. And last night's game, we know Joe had his struggles. He looked good against Minnesota in that little snapshot that we saw. But there seemed to be a bit of a disconnect in the Michigan State game and in the Indiana game, and then last week against Wisconsin. Now, Joe did not have a lot of help in terms of the running game, but there seemed to be something just a little bit off. The offense was stagnant. It wasn't moving aside from a few instances. And it just seemed like, okay, well, maybe this is not the guy. Alex has been very outspoken about there's a reason that Urban Meyer did not recruit Joe Milton. I'm sure he'll talk to us some more about that when he comes up. But in terms of last night's game, I thought Joe got off to a good start. I thought that he was completing his balls. I thought that he was on a roll up until this happened. Where is it? Up until this happened. Up until Cornelius. And it wasn't a bad fumble. I mean, he caught the ball and he was turning it upfield to make a play. And that number 7 there for Rutgers came in and just swiped it out. So we can bang on the kid for not having more ball security. But after that happened, I don't think Joe recovered from that. And the offense from that point on started to sputter along. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the ball, Rutgers, they're not an overpowering offensive team, but I think they're competent enough. They have enough to put some points up. And so when your team is stagnant and it's not doing anything, that allows a team like that to get ahead like they did. And then at some point during the second quarter, it might have been Jim, it might have been Josh Gaddis, said, okay, we've got to put Cade McNamara in. And just like last week against Wisconsin, once Cade McNamara got in there, The offense, it was instant. You could just see it. There was something different about him being in there in terms of where he was going with the ball, in terms of his decisiveness with the ball, in terms of him getting the ball out quickly. Rutgers was there was a kid. Let me look this kid's name up really quickly. It was African. It kind of sounded like a Nigerian or Fatakasi. Fatakasi. The kid's name is Ola Kanunle Fatakasi. He got Joe twice on a stunt, and he was able to get right in there in the backfield and wrap Joe's legs up. And there's something about when Cade McNamara got in there, he was getting the ball out quickly, and he was getting the ball out decisively to the backs, to the wide receivers, to Nick Eubanks. The offense visibly started rolling when Cade McNamara got in there. Now, last week, the question was, okay, he's in against Wisconsin. Wisconsin is in a prevent. So maybe that's why he was completing balls and doing what he was doing when he got in there against Wisconsin. I don't know that we can compare the Rutgers defense to the Wisconsin defense, but we can say that that offense started moving once Cade McNamara got in there. And it's really, really fascinating to think that and to see that one player can make a difference. We can talk about, over the last couple of weeks, I've talked about trying to diagnose this thing, that Jalen Mayfield was out, Ryan Hayes was out. There was no production from the running game. So there are all these things that at least I and some other talking heads were trying to diagnose about the offense. But it's clear that once the right quarterback gets in there, it can forgive a lot of other sins. So I think for the rest of the season, I don't see how this cannot be our guy for the rest of the season, based upon his accuracy, his arm strength, and just the plays that he's making and the plays that he knows to make. Some of those balls he's dropping back and throwing off of 1 foot, like Russell Wilson or Brett Favre or something like that, and he's making plays that Joe, for whatever reason, was unable to make. And keep in mind, Joe's got 4 inches on the kid. He's taller. He's bigger. Maybe he has a stronger arm, but Cade right now is the better quarterback. And so next, I'm going to go into last night's stats. But before I go into that, I'm going to give my little 2 cents on Joe and athletics. Should I say my little commentary? Everyone, be careful about bashing the kid. These are kids. I'm in my 40s, and these are kids, and we get wrapped up in our teams, and we get passionate about our teams, and we get angry when they lose, and we get angry when the coaches make dumb calls and they don't scheme right. But this is a young kid, and I know that that's got to be hard. Sports are a meritocracy, and it's all about what have you done for me lately. It's not about the kid. We had good practices. The kid has done everything we wanted him to do. He's a model citizen. He's got a 4.0. He volunteers in the community. Sports is a meritocracy. Ultimately, it's about what you're getting done out there. It's about what you're getting done out there on the field of play and in battle. Did you get the win? Are you getting the job done? And that's ultimately what matters within the lines. So as a kid who's been preparing for something like this, and you're not performing up to where you thought you would be, and you're not performing up to where some of the talking heads like Matt Leinart said you would be. Matt Leinart said he could be the next Cam Newton. it's got to be mentally difficult to not be getting it done, and then to have your understudy come in over you and outperform you and move the offense in a way that you were unable to. It's got to be hard. So I feel for that kid, and I would urge everyone to, he's probably thinking about transferring now. He's probably thinking, okay, now I have to compete for the job again, and the job might be gone altogether. So just, take it easy on that kid. We look at these kids playing in these programs, and we think that they have it all, but they're people just like everyone else. So with that, I'm going to read what Abdul Gaines said here. He says, "I'm good, Alex. I wanted Joe to succeed. I rooted hard for him. I still do. It's obvious that Cade has to be the guy going forward. The Big Ten has had quite an eventful weekend." Yeah, at the end of this live stream, I'm going to go over all the scores from the rest of the Big Ten institutions. Alex said, "I have a very good deep dive because it's not what you think it is." Okay, I can't wait to hear that. So I'm going to go over the stats from last night's game, and then I will throw the link in the chat so Alex can come up and tell us what he thinks about what happened. But again, it's just amazing that offense, our offense, looked pretty much broken the last 3 weeks, and it's just a matter of switching out the quarterback. And now it looked competent. It looked good. All the players, all those skill position players, and even the running backs looked good. I'm going to read another comment from Abdul Gaines here. "The best Michigan teams I've seen, for the most part, had a QB who had some NFL caliber wide receivers and a feature back. Michigan can't do running back by committee anymore. Give Hassan the ball. Corum compliments him." You know what? I would agree with that. I think I would give Hassan Haskins the majority of the touches. I mean, they keep saying he's the most physical, and when he gets in there, Haskins seems to make things happen. Good things happen when Hassan Haskins is on the field, and then maybe use the other guys as change of pace backs. We know Chris Evans can catch it. Blake Corum is a speedy guy. I guess Zach Charbonnet and Haskins are kind of similar build, similar running style. So maybe you can use Zach Charbonnet to spell Hassan Haskins, but I would ride Hassan Haskins as the main back. I see people are coming in now. If you haven't, please like the stream. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Those are both free. I'm going to go over the stats from last night's game. And geez, what's up with our kicking game? I mean, what who was that? Moody? Yeah, he aside from the PATs, he's, in terms of going for 3 points, yeah, we're not getting good production out of our kicking game, which might have come back to bite us. We got lucky last night. So last night's game. So me, I like to go over the quarters. I'm sorry. I like to go over the quarters and then get into the individual statistics. So let's start with the quarters. Rutgers won that first quarter 10-7. Let's see. Now, I remember there was a Giles Jackson return in there. I think that that was either in the first quarter or the second quarter. This is kind of weird. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Overtime 1, overtime 2. Okay, so I guess, this is only showing me the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. It's not showing me the first quarter. Anyway, so in the second quarter, Rutgers won that one 10-7. Third quarter, Michigan won that one 14-10. I think Cade McNamara went in somewhere here in the second quarter. And then Michigan won the fourth quarter 14-8. The first OT was 0-0. The second OT was 7-7. and then we won the game in the third OT 6-zip. So Don's defense came through to end the game for us. Otherwise, that might have wound up in a tie. Let's look at the Michigan stats first. Let's see. Cade McNamara went 27 for 36. So that's, for a running game that's been giving the production that we've been seeing. This is kind of more balanced. In the previous weeks, Joe was throwing 40 and 50 times. McNamara almost got there, but he threw 36 times, and he completed 27 of those for 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. For that limited time Joe was in there, he went 5 for 12 for 89 yards before they yanked him. Our leading rusher was Hassan Haskins, 25 carries. If you guys hear some noise in the background, my door cracked open. I think that's a helicopter. It's a little warm in here with this hat on. Hassan Haskins carried 25 times for 109 yards and 1 touchdown. And then next up was Zach Charbonnet with 6 carries and 27 yards. And then it went down from there. In terms of receiving, Cornelius Johnson had a big game. He caught 4 balls for 87 yards for an average of 22 yards per catch and 2 big touchdowns. He caught our first touchdown in the game. And I think he more than made up for that fumble in the first quarter. Giles Jackson had 4 receptions for 50 yards. And, of course, he had that big kickoff return. Nick Eubanks had a good game, 5 catches, 44 yards. Mike Samerstill had 4 catches for 44 yards and 1 touchdown. And then we got production out of Ronnie Bell and Chris Evans and Eric All. So we had nice balanced production from our wide receiving core. On defense, Daxton Hill, I think this was the game-sealing interception here. Josh Ross got 1 sack. Chris Hinton got 1 sack. They got decent pressure on Noah Vedral last night. And Cam McGrone went out. Cam McGrone got carted off early. So when Cam McGrone went out, I thought that might have spelled doom and danger for us, but the team was able to absorb that and recover. Let's take a quick look at let's go down here to the special teams. Giles Jackson had 4 returns for 159 yards and 1 touchdown. That was big. Blake Corum had 2 returns for 33 yards. Not much there in the punt game. Quinn Norden. It was Quinn Norden going for those field goals. He went 0 for 3. 0 for 3. So he must have been in there. He must have been the one kicking those extra points. I thought I saw Moody in there, but I guess it was Quinn Norden. Brad Robbins punted the ball for 137 yards. So I'll take a quick look at the Rutgers stats, and then I'll throw the link in the chat so Alice can come up. Noah Vedral played a good game against us. He was able to move the ball. I think most teams know at this point what the formula is against Don Brown's defense. So Noah Vedral threw 43 times and completed on 29 of those for 381 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then the game-sealing interception was here. This 381 yards, it's amazing. Those are similar numbers to what Michael Penix put up, and those are similar numbers to what Rocky Lombardi put up against our defense. They got marginal production from their running back stable. Isaiah Pacheco led them with 15 carries for 43 yards. And they got good production out of their wide receiving core. Each of these 3 guys caught the ball 7 times. Shameen Jones had 127 yards. Bo Melton had 109 yards. Aaron Cruikshank had 70 yards and Giovanni Haskins had 1 reception for 25 yards, and each of these guys scored touchdowns against us. So let's see, and this Johnny Langan scored 2 touchdowns against us, and that was it. That all accounted for the 48-42 spread in terms of score. I wasn't certain we were going to win this one. I thought they should have locked this up in regulation, and when it went to overtime, I was thinking, okay, this is going to slip through our fingers somehow. But the Maize and Blue were able to pull this one out. We were picked to win it by 10.5 points. Here goes the link to the chat. Here goes the link to the panel. Alex, if you want to come in. Clearly, the difference in that game was the quarterback switch. If Joe had stayed in there for all of regulation, based upon what we saw early, it didn't look like he was going to be able to move the ball enough to get us that point production that we needed down the stretch of the game. So I think that was the key to the game. All right, we have hold on a second. We got a Buckeye alert. Alex is coming in. He's coming in. All right. What's up, Alex?
All I can do is shake my head.
Hey, man, you got your own bat signal now.
All I can do is just shake my head.
What's going on?
Okay. I'm trying to think of where to begin. There's so many different things. Let's start here. I totally disagree with your assessment. I actually think Joe was playing a very good game.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. He made some really, really good throws. And, I am not a Joe Milton fan. I'm not on that bandwagon. But he made some really, really nice throws last night. Throws that I didn't think he could make at all. I didn't see that. So a couple of things happened when they switched quarterbacks. Not only did they switch quarterbacks, they switched how they were attacking the defense. It was no longer a downfield or primary downfield passing attack. It was quick outs. And if you know anything about Rutgers defense, they are an attacking defense. They blitz all the time, a lot of stunts. They bring all types of pressure. And what happened was Gaddis, I'm assuming, or somebody on their staff understood what Rutgers was trying to do, and they made an adjustment. And Rutgers, to me, really didn't make the adjustment because they were up, I think, 17-7 or 17. Yeah, they're up 17-7. I definitely think bringing the kid in definitely gave him a spark, but not only they just switched up what they were doing completely. I watched the game twice to be completely sure I was seeing what I was seeing. I watched it last night and I watched it again this morning.
Okay.
So there were, if you notice, when he came in, there were a lot of intermediate throws. And when you have that, it doesn't allow the defense to attack as much as it would like to. It doesn't allow the pass rush to get to him when he's getting the ball out under 2 seconds, which really frustrates the defense. It's super frustrating. And that allows the running game to get going because you're now having to account for these shallow crossing routes they were running last night, which opened up the running game. So with that being said, I don't think it was primarily McNamara as opposed to the strategy that was switched when they brought McNamara in. Now, I don't know if that's due to the fact that they don't believe that Joe Milton can throw those types of passes on time. I'm not aware of that. I don't think he can do it. I don't know if the staff thinks. So that's probably the first thing, or those are the first two things that I saw. Another thing is Rutgers is not a very good team, but they play very hard. And the way I saw it, Michigan did not win that football game.
They what?
The way I saw it, Michigan did not win that football game.
Okay.
Rutgers lost that game. They were playing. So typically, when you're playing a team that is more talented than you are, it's typically scheme, effort, and talent, right? So effort was there. They changed the quarterback. They're still going back and forth. Talent typically takes over. I didn't necessarily see that in this game, where talent, like Michigan, is by far the more talented team. A team like Rutgers should have never been able to hang in there with them as long as they did. Like, the game should have never went that way. And then you have to take a look at Rutgers penalties, man. I mean, bad. Like, they had Michigan at some third and longs, third and sixes, penalties. They have a good drive going, holding. I think they had 12 penalties last night. Abdul can look it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw the game completely different. I saw where they were able to move the ball, absolutely. They definitely switched the scheme. I feel like Rutgers didn't adjust, or honestly, I don't think they had the players to adjust to what Michigan was doing. But on the flip side, the better teams will adjust to what you're doing. They'll be able to adjust to what you're doing. And Rutgers just might be the worst team in the league, right? They might be. I mean, I can't think of a team that they're better than. I can't right now. So, I mean, they had, even with all that being said, they had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to win that football game. And Rutgers is like that, or not Rutgers, that particular game. I feel like Rutgers won and lost the game multiple times, and I've never seen that before. It was like they couldn't figure out if they wanted to win or lose the game, because when the change was made, it wasn't an adjustment, but they still hung in there somehow. I don't even know how. They hung in there with all the penalties that they had. I mean, they were shooting themselves in the foot all night long on the offense and defensive side of football. I think Michigan maybe had 5 or 6. I think Rutgers had like 12 penalties. A lot of holding. I mean, just I felt like the pass interference in overtime was a BS call. Thought that was a crap call. I mean, those two dudes are fighting it out, and the receiver had grabbed the shoulder pad of the DB, and I mean, they were fighting. I mean, they were going back and forth. So I just feel like, to me, that's a no call. They're going back and forth like that, and it wasn't anything major. And I know in the call, I watched it last night and this morning, they said, well, the DB has to turn his head around. In college, you don't have to turn your head around to deflect the pass. In the NFL, you do. In college, you don't. So they definitely misspoke in regards to that. And then in regards to McNamara, I think you have to look at the Wisconsin game and this game in they're two completely different games. He came in, chucked it around a little bit. I feel like they were just trying to get out there with the win. Cool, fine. This game is different. This game is, we're going to change our scheme of what we're trying to do to the defense, and we're going to put you in to do it. So in context, it's very, very different from Wisconsin to this game. It's completely different. And with that being said, I think the team definitely helped the team, those quick outs to be able to open up the running game. It definitely helped them 150%. Again, I don't know if Joe Milton has the ability to do that or not. I don't know. But there are two things you need to consider. So I know you said previously that you felt you guys probably could have won a couple of games if this kid was starting. I'm going to push back on that, and this is why. Nobody has tape on him, and nobody has tape on how they're trying to attack the defense either. Once you have tape, adjustments will be made. We don't know what he can do as a starter. We don't know what he can do for 40 minutes, and nobody has tape on him yet. The thing is, people have tape on Joe Milton. He's played 5 games. People had tape on him, right? He was the starter. So, you can take a look at the first 3 games that he played in its entirety and say, okay, this is what Michigan is trying to do while this gentleman is under center. You have a half of football and now another half of football where this other kid has played. Now you have some tape on what they're trying to do when this kid is in. So now another adjustment will be made to how Michigan is trying to attack. Well, McNamara's on the field. So, and I don't even know if he's even going to be, the starter. I felt like Michigan was doing a really good job. Like I said, Joe Milton he made a throw down the right sideline that I was like, oh, buddy, somebody's been putting in some work in the first quarter. I mean, it was a beautiful throw. Now, the one thing that hurts him is that because with him, they're trying to attack downfield. So he was getting hurt with those stunts because he's holding on to the ball, trying to find an open receiver downfield. Where it seemed like the moment that they really changed up how they were attacking the defense, it seemed like the entire playbook opened up. So I don't know if I necessarily test that to McNamara as opposed to changing the, Gaddis. I kind of give credit to Gaddis or whoever, saw that and decided to make those adjustments in the game. That's what he's there, or that's what they're there to do, is to make in-game adjustments. Excuse me, and not do the same thing for 4 quarters like we had been seeing. And again, I don't know if that contributes to Joe Milton, what he can and cannot do, or just they just happen to make the change and make how they're attacking the defense at the same time.
Okay, so let me go back and clarify. So I thought that I was saying that if we had that production, we would have at least been able to keep those games close and maybe beat someone like Michigan State. Because they didn't beat us handily. That was. I'm not going to look I might look the score up in a little bit, but with that production, I think those games go a little bit differently. I think that's what I was trying to say. So you feel like, surprisingly, you thought Joe was playing okay before they did him.
Yeah, I mean the fumble was the fumble. It was a good play by the defense, but that's not on him, right? He hit the guy in stride. You got to hold on to the football. That's not his fault.
Okay, and you think that they just changed everything around? They adjusted the game plan when McNamara went in there.
Yeah, I think that. Oh, not. I think. I know they changed the game plan. They were quick outs, like 2-step, balls out, 2-step, balls out, 2-step, balls out every single time. And then From there, the running game started to open up. Then you got the play action, which allowed you to go downfield. They were not doing that when Milton was in the game. That's not what they were doing. They weren't doing that at all. So it was more like, I'm going to run and then I'm going to drop back. I'm doing like a 5-step drop or a deep 3 or 4-step drop, trying to push the ball downfield. As to where McNamara was in there, it was 2 steps, read out, 2 steps, read out. Like the ball was coming out before the receivers were even getting into the routes.
Okay, Alex,
which is a credit to him. I mean, he played really well, but it's also that's not what they were doing with Joe Milton. So I don't want Joe Milton to take the blame for how Michigan has been playing. I kind of feel like this might actually be on the coaches for not making those adjustments. I don't know if he can do that, though. That's the thing. I have no idea if he's able to do what McNamara can do.
So, Alex, so then I was going to play devil's advocate and say, then why don't you just leave Joe Milton in there and make those adjustments for him?
Thank you, Abdul. That's my point right there. Michigan had 5 penalties. Rutgers had 12. Rutgers had 12, and it took 3 overtimes for you guys to beat them. That's not Michigan winning the football game. That's Rutgers losing the football game.
Okay, I can't disagree with that. I mean,
they did everything. Rutgers did everything to lose the game and lost in overtime, and should have won because they can't kick a freaking field goal. You know what I mean? Like, I just saw the game completely different. I saw it very, very different. I saw good, and that's not to say I didn't see good things. I saw some very, very good things. I saw in-game adjustments for the first time this season, which I was like, oh, this is what we're doing? Okay, well, let's see what happens. And everything opened up. I saw Josh Gaddis's kind of like, I saw what I believe the offense should be. And maybe that is something going forward that maybe he's just attacking things not incorrectly. Maybe he needs to do some different things. Which I feel like, when you bring in a QB, it's the perfect time to try out some new stuff because you don't know what's going to happen. And if it doesn't work the first couple series, you can always go back to your starter.
Okay. Well, okay. So for those viewing, so you have 2 hypotheses here. Either Joe, doesn't have those same skills that Cade McNamara does and can't make those same throws that Cade was, or they adjusted the scheme just right when McNamara got in there, and that's what seemed to get those things going, was that they adjusted the scheme, as Alex said. So either way, I
don't want to take anything away from McNamara because he balled. He got in there and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. And I don't want to take anything away from Milton because, I felt like Milton was playing a very, very good game. I definitely saw the offense get juice, but I don't want to see the Joe Milton hates. And I'm not a Joe Milton fan. I think he's garbage, personally. But he didn't do enough to lose the job. I'll do it like that. He didn't do enough.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I felt like he didn't do enough to get yanked. I don't think he did enough to get yanked last night.
Okay. Treppa Coles says, yes, Michigan with all their talent struggled to beat Rutgers even after the offense got rolling. Yes, got to keep that in perspective. They got a W, but it wasn't against one of the bigger boys in the conference. So keep everything in context and perspective. So it sounds like if what you say is true, Alex, then we're still in this ambiguous area where we don't know who should be in there playing the position. So that's a difficult position for all of them to be in, the coaching staff and those two quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good problem to have. Right? I think it's a good problem to have.
Steve Nayland says Joe Milton is trash. Stay with Cade. So that's something that comes along with this is when you see success, some fans are quick to get behind the other guy. But
context is important in this situation. Context is
very
important. Context is important.
So as Alex said, it could be that teams haven't had a chance to study what Cade McNamara likes to do, and after this week, and teams will be able to diagnose that and say, okay, well, he likes to do this, he likes to do that, so he might plummet back to earth, in subsequent games. Steve also says straight talk. Yeah, I was looking at the game last night, and I was looking at Joe early on. I liked the role that he went on. He was completing passes, and I was thinking, okay, our first two drives came up empty, but he could, we could still get on a roll here. So I was looking at him, and I was hoping, okay, he'd be able to recover and get something going for his sake. But whatever the staff saw, they said, okay, we need to get the other kid in here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I think they definitely found their niche on how they should start games and how they want to attack defenses. I definitely think whoever on that staff, they unlocked something. I think it's the start of beginning to open up the offense, and so okay, I want to address what Abdul just said.
Okay.
He said the UM coaching staff has not put their best players in a position to be successful. As much as I like Joe, UM, I don't think has much of a choice other than to start McNamara. And this is why I completely disagree. If Joe can do the same things that McNamara can do, and he gives you the option of running, because that's the one thing that for some reason I still have not seen yet. I have not seen the QB run out of this offense. I haven't seen the QB run, and I haven't seen the quick hits that I saw last night. So I don't think, that's why I'm saying I don't think that's an indictment of Joe Milton. I don't think that's not a him problem. That's a coaching and scheme problem. Unless he physically can't do it. I don't know that. So I'm not going to say that he can't until I either see it on the field or the coaching staff says otherwise. So I'm going to assume that he's able to do the same things. But for him to be the athlete that he is, I haven't seen them do the same things with him that they did with McNamara. And I haven't seen the QB run because I know he's an athlete and I know he can run. I haven't seen that.
So just so we're clear here, Alex, when you're referring to the QB run, what are you referring to? You referring to a Michael Vick type thing where he just takes off running, or are you referring to designed runs? What are you referring to?
Either or. Something. It doesn't have to be a design QB run. I mean, it can be, the threat of having an additional runner on the field puts pressure on the defense, puts pressure on opposing defenses. So for him to be this drop back passer that I've said I don't think he's a natural passer of the football. I think he made some, even with that being said, he made some tremendous throws last night that even I was like, wow, like maybe there is something there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is something there. I don't see it. But I saw a lot of glimpses last night of the throws that he can make. And it takes a while to wow me with throws because I see guys throw the football. And I was like, he made some throws and I was like, he can do that? Like, where has that been?
There was at least one ball. I know if Sandersville pulled that in, that would have been a momentum builder for him and for them.
Yeah.
If Sandersville had pulled that down, that would have been huge.
Yeah.
Abdul Gaines says, Alex, I agree with what you are saying. It just seems this team responds noticeably different with Cade on the field. So again, so that gets back to, is it Cade or is it the adjustments they made for Cade when Cade went in?
I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Again, like I said, the quick hits, doesn't allow pressure on the quarterback. It makes the linebackers have to back up a little bit because when you're blitzing, the idea obviously is to throw wherever the blitz is coming from. So if you're getting the ball out very quickly, you're not able to blitz, which takes away what Rutgers likes to do. They love the blitz. They love the stunt. That's what they do. That's what Greg Schiano likes to do. So when you're attacking the defense in that way, like Rutgers wasn't able to recover after that. They weren't able to stop what Michigan was doing. I mean, they just did it for the rest of the game. And when you can't blitz and those linebackers have to back up because you're throwing the ball where they're coming from, that means you have man on man, which opens up the running game, which then opens up play action pass, which is exactly what they did. I mean, it was a beautifully called game. It was a great called adjustment from Gaddis or whoever made the adjustment on the offense. It was great. But to kind of, I want to go back and address some things that you were saying. Production-wise, could the games have been closer? Yes, but you still have a problem on that defense. You have a huge problem on that defense. Rutgers is not a very talented team. They're not a very talented team. They play very hard, but they are not a very talented team. And that game should not have been that close once the adjustment has been made. That Don Brown defense is still, you still gave up 42 to Rutgers, right? I mean, we just got to put it in context. I'm glad they got the win. But how much did you give up to Indiana? How much are you giving up to Rutgers? How much did you give up to Michigan State? It's more than just, it's a multi-layered problem that's going on. So where I see your point where, yeah, if you have the extra production, but again, you get tape, adjustments are made. You can't attack every defense the same, right? Because if you have a defense that has a really, really good pass rush, that doesn't have to blitz to get a good pass rush on you, what are you supposed to do, right? Like McNamara might not have been as effective. Maybe the deep passing game, which it seems like Joe Milton is probably better at, is more effective. Like he's more effective in that regard. So we're not talking about Ohio State today.
Hold on, let me read it. I also believe that Michigan can compete with Ohio State. and the Big Ten because of all the coaches leaving the program day in and day out. It's been like that for 12 straight years. Okay, so I think he's talking about some attrition. Al Hall and Greg Madison and the Wheatley and Ty Wheatley. I think he's talking about them leaving. So there's no stability, or there's little stability in our program aside from Jim's son and Don Brown.
You know what I saw the other day? Did you know that Mike Hart is a running backs coach at Indiana?
Yep. He's been there a couple of years.
I was like, what is Michigan doing?
Dude, that's what I was saying with Ty Wheatley.
Hart?
How do you not have one of the greats from the Pantheon coaching your running backs? I've been saying that all along.
I mean, they get Ty Wheatley. He's an older dude, but like Mike Hart is like my age. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's got to be much easier recruiting running backs when you have one of those guys on the staff. You know, they've played the position at the highest level.
And he's played in the league. He's played in the league. And that's the most important thing. So when you're recruiting players, premier programs outside of one or two, like I don't know if Larry Johnson's played in the NFL or not because he gets the best defensive ends every year, pretty much. I know Brian Hartline has played in the NFL, and he's getting the wide receiver classes that Ohio State's put together are just insane. But I don't, you need that pipeline. Like that's the ultimate goal is to have players get to the league. So I don't know if I don't even know if Mike Hart's a good coach or not. I just know that, he is a Michigan alum. He did play in the NFL. He was a very, very good player in college. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to have that on your staff. And I will say this, I did like the way Haskins ran the ball last night. He ran it tough, behind the pads, going forward, legs always moving. Like, I don't think he's, the best runner in the world, but he's very physical. He's a very physical runner.
Yeah.
Very physical runner. And he has really good second and third efforts, like in his runs. And that's to say, you're still playing Rutgers. So, like, I don't know how far that goes. You know what I mean? Like, you have to put it all, everything has to be in context.
Yeah.
If you're playing, I don't know, like, even if you're playing like Miami and like Michigan's doing this, we're having a different conversation because, Miami's in like the top 25. They're a top 25 team. Or Indiana, who's a top 10 team, or I don't know, even Cincinnati, who's a top 10 team. Like, if you're doing that against them, you're kind of like, oh, well, looks like they found something, where now you're kind of like, we're not sure because you're playing Rutgers. They basically beat themselves, gave away the game twice in the fourth quarter in overtime, they gave the game away. And it's Rutgers. It's just Rutgers, man. Like,
yeah, it's a game our program is supposed to win.
Not like that.
Not like that.
Not like that.
Steve says they get good coaches and won't pay them enough to stay. I think that's what we talked about with Tyree Lee.
Well, I mean, he left in
after 2016.
Yeah, I mean, Tyree left to get a head coaching job, so I mean, you got to take your opportunity. So I know I've said that multiple times. He left to get a head coaching job. You got to take your opportunity when it comes, because you never know. You never know when you're going to get another shot. You never know.
But Alex, I mean, but the school he's at, it's not a Power 5 school, and you think you want to stay at your alma mater for more than 2 years to help restore it to glory.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Andy Case asks, Alex, who do you think U of M should start at QB moving forward?
That's a great question. Who do they play next?
Let's take a look. I think it's Penn State. Yeah, Penn State's coming
Go ahead.
into
Go.
house.
So I'm going to say two things. First thing is I totally disagree with the fact that if they start McNamara, that Joe Milton should be looking to transfer. Completely disagree with that. Every quarterback in college, in high school, in the NFL is one hit away. They're all one hit away. And what's the? I mean, I didn't watch the press conference after the fact. Are they opening back up the competition? Is that what they're doing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was late. I didn't see it either.
Yeah, I didn't see it. So, not knowing that, Andy, I would probably say, I would probably start Joe next game.
Interesting.
So, when you have a starter who's been starting, and granted he's been losing, but I don't think it's been because. I think it's not only because he hasn't played well. The defense is just it's been horrendous. It's been horrendous. So like I probably place 30% of the blame on him, maybe 30%. I feel like the defense is probably 50%. No, the defense is probably 30%, 35, and I think coaching is probably 30-35. So I think quarterback play kind of comes into that. He's made some good throws, things like that. But if they're not, it's tough. So like if you're not going to put him in a position, if you're not going to put him and McNamara in the same position to execute an offense and to go out and win football games, then what are we really doing? Naming him the starter, great, cool, fine. But not putting him in positions to be successful, making adjustments during games, which is what you get paid to do, and you haven't been doing what you get paid to do. And now all of a sudden that you make the adjustments, we're talking about who should start. I think the starter should start. The guy who won the job originally should start. Until proven otherwise, if you give this guy the same opportunities as you give the backup and he doesn't produce, then we go to the backup. But you don't sit the guy who played pretty well, bring in another guy, change everything up, and then everything all of a sudden magically happens to work. I don't think that's fair to him. I feel like that's not giving him a fair shot. He should have the same opportunities as McNamara has.
Okay. So we have two hypotheses right now. Either McNamara went into the same offense and outplayed Joe, or they adjusted the scheme so that McNamara went in, and that's why he played better and was able to move the ball better than Joe was able to. So there's two hypotheses right now.
Yeah.
Zarek Thompson says missed tackles are a big problem.
True. Defense is terrible, man. Defense is bad.
Yeah. For the type of defense Don runs, they have to wrap the guys up and make the plays. Steve Nealon says that's what I'm talking about. Hey, if you guys are new in here, please subscribe to the channel. I'm at 451. Steve Nealon says now we're getting somewhere. Abdul Gain says, yep, Hart has been there a little while. I believe Hart has spanned multiple head coaches at IU. So he's their Fred Jackson.
Yeah, I think he might have been there when Kevin Wilson was there.
Steve Nealon says, or hire Charles Woodson to coach the corners. Yeah, ideally you'd want all the great players to come back and coach the positions.
He probably makes too much money doing what he does right now. He's got a sweet gig.
Yeah. And the coaching, that's an around the year thing.
It's a grind, Ben.
It's a grind. You're coaching during the season. You're probably doing some recruiting during the season, and then you have to recruit out of season. So that would be a lot for someone to leave the booth unless they really, really want to do it. So
And he might not have the coaching bug either. Like the coaching bug is it's specific to certain individuals. Certain people have it and certain people don't. Like I have the coaching bug. I love to coach. Love it. I've been coaching since I was a freshman in college.
really,
Yeah.
football,
Basketball.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I coach football also, but because I played both sports, but just coaching in general, I have the coaching bug. I love to teach. I love to teach the games. So
Okay.
not
That's,
everybody.
I played some basketball in high school as well, and that's something I thought I wanted to get into, but my father kind of talked me out of it. So I still like to try it someday, just to say that I tried it.
Like working with kids is the best thing ever, man. Like for me, coaching's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. And coaching's a grind. It's a serious grind. My best friend is a coach. He's a assistant basketball coach overseas, and it's the stuff he tells me. I'm just like, that's just insane. So
Okay. So everyone, we're going to rock out for probably another, 15, 20 minutes. I'm doing a double header today. I'm doing another one over on my science channel. Let's take a look at the scores from around the league yesterday. We know Alex's team won.
if they decide to play a full 60 minutes, I would absolutely love it. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. But who knows? Lightning might strike at some point in time. Who knows?
Yeah. So Minnesota beat Purdue 34-31. Illinois beat Nebraska.
Champagne, stand up, finding a line.
They beat Nebraska 41-23. The Ohio State University beat Indiana 42-35. Now, Alex, did you guys escape that one, or y'all just put it in cruise control?
They were up 35-7. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
In the first half, they were up 35-7, and they won 42-35. If that should say enough. And Justin Fields probably played the worst game he's ever played in his life. And they were up 35-7.
Okay. Now, this is interesting. Northwestern beat Whiskey 17-7.
Ramsey, man, that dude can sling it. That kid Ramsey, he can sling it, man. He's man. I mean, Penix he's the dude. Like, he can ball. But Ramsey's no joke, man. That dude. He puts the ball. He's a very, very. I like his anticipation when he throws the football. I love his anticipation.
Okay.
Let me answer Abdul's question.
Okay, go ahead.
Abdul, this is the problem in Columbus. We come in every game, dominate first 30 minutes. And then we expect teams to lay down, and then they don't lay down. That's what's going on. You're up 35-7. They shut Penix down. They shut him down in the first half. Shut it down completely. And then they just take their foot off the gas. Let's try to get out here with the win. The problem is that you can get away with that when you're playing Rutgers or Penn State or Michigan or like Nebraska. You can get away with those things, right? When you play a very good passing attack like Indiana, like they can mess around, come back and beat you. Some teams are not just going to lay down and take it, right? When you're up 3 scores, some teams are just not going to mail it in. And that's what's going on. Ohio State's going up 3 scores on everybody in the first half, and they're expecting teams to just lay down and be like, okay, we're up 3 scores. You know you're not going to win. Let's all get out of here, COVID-free. And teams are like, F that. We're coming here to play. We're coming here to beat you. So there's a disconnect. And when you have that mentality that you're up 3 scores and you want to take your foot off the gas, it's very hard to flip the switch, turn it back on, turn the intensity back on to get back into the same groove you were in when you were kicking the crap out of the team 10 minutes earlier before halftime. So, like, you know, middle of the third quarter, the team's got momentum. They're starting to believe, hey, we might be able to come back. We might be able to beat these guys. And you're in cruise control. So they have a problem. They have a serious problem. They are not. This is the crazy thing. They're not finishing games. We're seeing half of what Ohio State's capable of. If they actually finished the games that they have played, it probably would be insane. But they have a problem finishing games right now. I don't know what's going on down there, but I know that's the problem. They have a problem finishing games.
Okay. He left another comment here for you. Let me just read this really quickly. And Iowa beat Penn State 41-21.
Me and Abdul gonna box. We're gonna box.
Oh, Alex, you don't know.
we gonna box.
Abdul Gaines is like a dog on a steak, man. He'll get it and he won't.
Go ahead and chomp at the bit. I mean, here's the thing. We take them lightly in the second half. We come in and we're like, yo, we got to take care of business. But business is over 60 minutes, not 30. That's the thing. That's the catch. So anyway, enough about Columbus.
Okay. So that was the rest of the Big Ten yesterday. It's appropriate to go over the rest of the league. Let's take a look back at the Michigan schedule here. Then we'll wrap up.
Great games yesterday. Yeah, great game.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Wisconsin go down like that. I mean, maybe that's a testament to how soft our team is. But
well, I would say you could probably sum it up to 2 things. Wisconsin hasn't played in a couple weeks, so like you got the frustration of not playing in a couple weeks, and then I don't know once that wears off if you're able to bring that intensity back up to get up for a team that's undefeated in the league as well. Because I think Wisconsin's only played 2 or 3 games, 3 games now. Everybody else has played 5.
Yeah.
So that's a when you're not practicing and that, like, Michigan's not good. Their defense isn't good, so it's easy to do what they did. But when you actually have to play a opponent, like a very formidable opponent, and you haven't practiced in almost a month because of COVID. Like, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. I feel like if they play that game another 9 times, Wisconsin will probably win 8. But I really like Northwestern's quarterback though. Like, I'm glad he's not. When he was at Indiana, I was like, can somebody just hit this guy, because he's just getting the ball out too fast.
Mm-hmm. I know Purdue is disappointed to get ripped off at Minnesota.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so I'm going to throw the Michigan schedule back up. We know what the last game is. So Michigan right now is 2-3. Yeah, 2-3. Penn State comes to the Big House next week. Assuming Maryland has gotten over their COVID issues, they come to the Big House the week after that. And then the last one, that last one's going to be bloody.
Listen.
And we'll try Alex in rare form that for that week.
that might be the game they play 60 minutes just because. That might be the only game. That might be the only game. So, I mean, it's pretty much a cakewalk for them for the rest of the way. So, Indiana was a team. I don't even know who they have to play next. I can't even remember. But I know Indiana was like the test. Like, them and Maryland were like, the 2 teams that. Not that I wasn't worried about Indiana because I know what Ohio State's capable of, but that last game, you'll definitely get 60 minutes of that. I'm 100% sure.
Okay. Everyone, I don't know if I'm going to go live next week because I'm going up to Western New York, and maybe Abdul Gaines could tell us here in the chat. I don't know what's happening with everything being closed. I don't think my mother gets all the channels I get here, so I'll have to find some place to watch the Penn State game. Next week might be a little break for this. But in terms of last night's game, got to keep it in perspective. It was a win over Rutgers where we escaped with the win.
A win is a win.
A win is a win.
A win is a win.
And there's still ambiguity at the quarterback position. So we still don't know who it should be. I started this live stream saying, well, it looks like Cade McNamara is the guy, and Alex came in and made a good case that we shouldn't close the door on Joe just yet. Let's see what Abdul Gaines says. The Big Ten, even with OSU as the obvious lead dog, is very interesting this year. I like what I see in Northwestern, Wisconsin, Indiana. I'm very excited for the Big Ten's future.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Abdul says Buffalo Wild Wings on Niagara Falls Boulevard in Buffalo closes at 10 p.m. each night right now. So if it's open and I can go watch the game with Abdul Gaines next week, I'll do a pregame live stream and a postgame live stream. So let's see.
Yeah, definitely. That's where he's at. He's up in.
We're Buffalo kids. So me and Abdul, we went to high school together. So
that's going to be a great game, Steve. I'm going to make sure I watch that game.
Indiana plays Maryland. Yeah,
if they're able to play, I think that's going to be a really good game. I think that'd be a really good game.
Yeah, because you keep saying that Tua's brother is like
he's the real deal.
Higher.
He's the real deal. He's the real deal. That's all I'm going to say. Just for people who are watching, watch this kid. He's the real deal. He might be the second best quarterback in the Big Ten. I'll say that. He can sling it. He can sling it with Penix and the kid from Wisconsin and Ramsey. He can sling it with all those guys, man. He's tough. He's really, really good.
Okay.
Really good.
So everyone, based on this, if Maryland is healthy enough to play, don't be surprised if Tua's brother slices up Don's defense.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be. Listen. They got a kid out there who's like Mike Allstott running like a 4.4. Like they got this white kid named what's the guy's name? Funk. Funk is his last name, and he runs like a 4.4. Like he's big and he's strong, and it's like really weird to watch. It's like a creative player. Like it's really weird.
All right.
But the guy can run the football, man. He's tough, and he's really, really fast. And
so Maryland, we might see lots of this.
Yeah, and they got a 5-star receiver who Ohio State was really, really trying to get, and I think Michigan was trying to get him too, and he ended up staying. He's from the DMV area, and he ended up staying because Tulua, I think is his name. Tulua Tagovailoa is there. I get his name right.
You know, everyone, I show this picture in a lot of my videos. This is one of my favorite Harbaugh Don Brown pictures. It just is.
It's not that. It's not that. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
What?
It's the guy in the left-hand corner who's like, oh, yeah, I've seen this before.
Oh. Well, Jim in this picture, he's got his arms folded and his head to the side, like he's just sick.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like Steve's probably seen him play. The guy next to Don Brown, the black guy in the corner.
Yeah,
the look on his face is like, yeah, I've seen this before. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Let's see. Ty left to become the running back coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he went to the NFL. Yeah, he went to the NFL before.
I'm definitely out then.
Morgan State. So, but it's your alma mater, man. It's your alma mater.
Listen, if they're not giving you have to go where the opportunity is, man. At the end of the day, you never know how many head coaching opportunities you're going to get, so you got to take it. And I think Morgan State's a HBCU, right?
It is.
Enough said.
So
enough said.
And I shot a video on that. They made a statement. Him, Derek Alexander, and I think I can't think of the third guy. They all played together, but they said, "This is our Michigan now." So I guess they're really committed to building that up into something.
I mean, that's my probably one regret that I didn't go to an HBCU. I wish I had the opportunity to. My best friend, my brother, he went, and I wish I would have went. I thought about going to West Virginia State, and then I thought about going to Hampton. One of my good friends went to Morehouse, so I wish I would have, instead of going to West Virginia, I wish I would have taken the opportunity to, I mean, at that time, when you have a D1 offer, you're not thinking about any HBCU.
Okay. You had an offer to play which one?
Basketball at West Virginia. So I wasn't thinking about any HBCUs at that time.
So you played ball at West Virginia?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Under who's the coach? Beeline. Okay. Yeah, Beeline. Yeah, Beeline.
He was there. So he was there. He was there 1 year, and I redshirted, got hurt, tore my MCL, my ACL.
Yeah, that was with Pittsnoggle and the other kid who was shooting all the threes, Mike something, right?
Yeah, I was the class before that.
Wow. Yeah, they were lighting it up.
Yeah, and then we got like thousands of NCAA violations and I had to transfer. I don't want to talk about that. It's I like PTSD about that. Let's see here. Quentin Ewers signed with Ohio State, top bottom, I believe. Big. Okay, and I'm gonna say it again. Nobody wants to believe me. This is why Ohio State is 20 years ahead of everybody in the Big Ten, because of stuff like this. Because you have to compete against this. You have to compete. It's why Clemson is 20 years ahead of everybody else in the ACC. Alabama's probably like 4 or 5, because Georgia brings in Georgia. If they just get somebody to teach quarterbacks how to play in Georgia, or if they just play the right quarterback, Georgia and Alabama neck and neck. They're 1 and 2. I mean, Georgia gets their top 5 recruiting class every year. And then LSU, they're up. They get up, they win 1, and then they're down for like 10 years. They get up, win 1, down for 10 years. So, but yeah, this is why stuff like this. You have to, but I feel like the Big Ten, to Abdul's previous comment, I feel like the Big Ten is in a very, very good place.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a very good place, even though I don't like the fact that Michigan and Penn State are not very good. I feel like the parity in the league is awesome, and it's not bad parity either. It's really good parity. Like, these teams they're solid. They're not bad. You got to bring your game when you're coming to play Indiana or Wisconsin or Maryland and Northwestern. Like, you got to bring your game, man. You have to bring it, or they'll beat you. And I don't think that matters what conference you're in. I feel like those teams are that good.
TB Yards 86 says Milton needs to be a little more patient in the pocket, and he needs to take some heat off the ball. The O-line isn't helping much at all either. So that gets back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think it's a scheme thing. I think he's taking 5-step drops, 4 and 5-step drops, and waiting for plays to develop where McNamara is 2-step drop and I'm getting the ball out before the defense can even get there. It's a completely different approach to the offense, which is why I said I feel like you have to give Joe the opportunity to do you have to give him the same opportunities that you give at McNamara. You have to. It's not fair if you don't. It's not fair. It's not fair to him because, I mean, although, you know, the players see what they see in practice, like if they're seeing what we're seeing on the field, but then like they switch it up and then they're seeing something completely different in the game, like, you know, maybe they'll have a little bit more faith in Joe if they're giving him the same opportunities that they're giving McNamara in the game.
Okay.
But
He also says,
you know,
we need more beef on the defensive line, 300 plus.
no, you need better players on the defensive line. You don't need 300-pounders. I mean, not necessarily, but you just need better players. But they got one dude, he flashed it yesterday, but again, it's Rutgers, so it's like it's tough to be like, like this guy, but it's like it's Rutgers, so like we don't know. We just know Rutgers isn't talented and they play really hard.
Mm-hmm. I agree, Alex. Michigan needs to stop recruiting just in the state of New Jersey. That sounds like a Rashawn Gary thing or a Jabril Peppers thing.
I mean,
We all know how.
So like you can't not recruit highly recruited players. That just makes no sense. Like you're not going to recruit Rashawn Gary because he's in New Jersey and he's the #1 ranked player in the country. Like what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You get them, you have to bring them there and develop them. That's what you have to do. But like, I mean, the dude did nothing at Michigan and still was a first-round pick. I mean, that's on the coaching staff. That's not on him. In the words of Garrett Wilson, when they asked him why he didn't go to Texas, because he's from Texas. He went to school right down the street from the University of Texas, and why he chose Ohio State, and he'd never been to Ohio State. You know what he said?
What's that?
I'm trying to get developed. I'm trying to go to the NFL. That's it. Got to develop these kids. Yes, they're highly recruited, but you got to develop them. And you never know when you get a 3-star, you know, he might be the next, you know, Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer. Like, you don't know, but you have to develop them to find out what you have. You can't just, you know, bring highly recruited players in and then just expect them just to put them on the field and play. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So they're not finished products. They're just completely off their potential. They're not finished products when they come into college.
Well, we all know that Rashawn Gary is one of Abdul Gaines' all-time favorite players. He can't stand Rashawn Gary.
Listen, I know if I was Rashawn Gary, I would have did the same thing. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm hurt. I'm going to the NFL. I'm hurt."
Jared Hunter says it's sad to see Milton get benched and Cade do so well. I really like Milton. He needs to work on the basics this off season.
Yo, he's going to be a senior next year, isn't he? Isn't he a junior?
I think he's going to be a redshirt junior. I could be wrong.
That's even worse.
That's
so bad.
Kenneth Joy says, you let the QB run you over, unacceptable. Oh, yeah, there were some a couple times when was Noah Vedral lowered his shoulder. And
Michigan gave up a 3rd and 15 and the dude ran for 25 yards. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like 3rd and 15. And it wasn't a designed run. No, it wasn't designed. I'm telling you that it was a designed run. It was a designed run for it. It was like he faked left and then took off right up the middle of the field.
I'm going to rebut that with no Kwity Paye, no Aiden Hutchinson, just to play devil's advocate. Steve says, when's the last time they recruited in the state of Ohio or Michigan? Ask yourself that. Well, isn't the door slammed shut on Ohio right now?
So the thing about Ohio is Ohio's really tricky. So when you are the program, the tier the top tier program that Ohio State is. Ohio State takes the best kids in Ohio. They try to. So there's a situation like right now where, Quinn Ewers committed. Quinn Ewers is like they're expecting this dude to be like Andrew Luck. Like he's supposed to be the guy, like the guy, like Fields, Lawrence, this guy. Like he's supposed to be that good. And I watched some of his games and I was like, holy crap. Like this guy he can put balls in there, like drop them in there. So you have situations where you recruit, you get this kid, right? But you have some guys in Canton, another guy in Cleveland who are rising up the rankings really fast. No, I'll take that back. I think he's in Massillon. One's in Massillon, either in Canton or Massillon, somewhere in that area. They got a couple guys between Massillon and Cleveland that are like shooting up the rankings, playing really, really good ball. But, you got the number one quarterback in the country. So, are you really going to heavily recruit those guys? Like if you're getting the number one wide receiver or the wide receiver classes are really good right now and DB classes are good. I mean, if you're getting like the top ranked players in the country, I mean, yes, you want to lock Ohio down, but like it's really, really, it's a tough like push and pull as to who you take, who you don't take, who you go after, who you don't go after, because you still want to lock Ohio down, but you don't want to shut out the rest of the country either. You have outliers like Jack Sawyer and Zach Harrison, who just happen to be the number one defensive ends in their class, and they happen to be both from Columbus, which is weird. But when you're recruiting Quinn Ewers and the wide receivers and the DBs, and you have to make a choice. Do you take a top 5 DB who fits your program really well, or do you take the number 60th DB who is in state and wants to come to Ohio State, is dreaming of playing in Ohio State? Like, which one do you take that fits your program really well? Like, those are decisions that Ohio State is making. So when I say, is there a lockdown in Ohio? Yes, but it's with an asterisk, because we're not just a regional program. We're a national program, and we pick and choose who we want. And if we want to get the best players that we possibly can. And sometimes that doesn't mean that the kids from Ohio are in that conversation.
Okay.
It's a tough conversation to have.
Abdul Gain says Hutchinson not being in the lineup definitely has been a noticeable loss for the defensive line. Kenneth Joyce says that's real. Abdul Gain says, I believe Joe has another year of eligibility. I think Joe is a redshirt sophomore now.
So he's a junior.
Okay.
When I say junior, I mean that he's not eligibility-wise. He's been in the program for 3 years. So I don't know at what point you learn, because I've never been a quarterback's coach. I don't know at what point you learn to make those adjustments in your passing game. If you're in the third year in your program, let's say he came when he was 18, he's 21 years old. I don't know at what point that you figure that out. And that's not to say I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. I'm just saying that if that is the case, I don't know at what point you learn to do those things when you're getting older. Like, those are things that you typically learn when you're in QB camps and getting developed as a quarterback in high school. And, even in college, like, maybe it's an indictment on the development that has happened since he's been there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Trepicoles says, in regards to, I didn't read this one. With JJ coming in next year, will Milton transfer? It's a good question.
No,
imagine. Sorry?
Why would he?
Well, if he's going to be playing behind Caden McNamara,
we don't know that.
And he has aspirations. Well, he clearly has aspirations of going pro himself. Isn't that the decision they? Well, aspirations.
I think we need.
They clearly want that. Why would they? Why do they agree to stay and play behind someone else? Right.
I think the aspirations of playing in the NFL for him right now are delusional at best.
Okay.
Delusional. He's a decent quarterback. He's not a top 6 quarterback in his conference. Actually the top 7, because I'm thinking Fields, Tagovailoa, Penix, Ramsey,
Tanner Morgan,
Mertz. And who'd you say? I'm sorry.
Tanner Morgan, Minnesota. No,
Tanner Morgan. And I don't think he's better than Clifford. So that's 7 right there. That's 7 quarterbacks, which makes him maybe number 8. So he's not a top 8 quarterback in his conference. So I think the NFL is a little bit far-fetched at this particular point, especially the fact that he's 21. He's at least 20 or 21 because he's in his 3rd year in the program. So I think that development should be the key and let the chips fall where they fall. But I mean, JJ's coming in. JJ's probably not going to play until his sophomore, junior year anyway. That's typically how it happens when new quarterbacks are coming in. So if I was Joe, I'm leaving. When it's time for him to play, I'm already leaving anyway. If I stay, so that doesn't necessarily make that I wouldn't leave if I was him.
This comment has come up in my live streams before. It might have been Trevor Coles who asked it earlier. In regards to Joe Milton's development, do you believe the fact that Joe never had a quarterback coach or went to any quarterback camps prior to coming to Michigan has put him behind in developing?
I'm not in the Michigan bashing game. I don't feel like Michigan's developed anybody in like 4 years.
Okay.
Like 5, 6. I think in the 6 years that they have brought in recruits, they have not got developed. That's what I think.
So you would attribute it to the fact when they come in the program, there's something that's not being done in the program as opposed to prior to.
Right. So one of the obvious in life, when you're going into college, like for instance, when I went to college, I could score the basketball. I was a really, really good defensive player, though. I was what you would call a prototypical point guard. I could hit open shots, play really good defense, but I could run an offense, but I didn't have very good playmaking ability. So one of the things that was told to me my senior year was like, hey, this is what you need to work on coming in. This is what we need your body to look like. We need to get your fat index down to this, etc. So like coming in, I kind of knew what was expected. I'm assuming that Michigan should be doing the same type of thing. I'm 100% sure he went to QB camps. I think he was maybe a top 20 quarterback. So I'm pretty sure he went to QB camps. I mean,
how could he not?
Yeah, that's. I mean, you have to go to those camps to get rated. That's how they rate you. So I completely believe that he did that. I just don't think they developed very well or at all. I just don't. I don't see it. And for JJ, I mean, I think he's smoking something because I wouldn't want to go to Michigan. I would want to go to like Clemson or Oklahoma, or I want to go somewhere where they develop quarterbacks. So, and Michigan's not been a place ever where that's been one of their fortes is developing quarterbacks. That's not what their calling card is. They've had some good ones, but that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Steve says, don't forget about Zach Wilson. Yakov22 says the UM defense had few, if any, answers to a prolific Rutgers offense.
The fact that you put prolific and Rutgers offense in the same sentence, I think I'm done for the day.
It was a bad look when the Rutgers QB overpowered the U of M D-line on the game-tying 2-point conversion. Yep. And then
that was the offensive line pushing too. You know, he got ahead. I mean, that always happens. Like when you have a QB run, like if they get stopped, the offensive linemen are always coming behind. Running backs coming behind, obviously pushing them, trying to get his momentum going forward. So, yeah.
Jairus Hunter says, when you say the players are not developed, are you talking about the coaching?
Yes, 100%. 100%.
And I think regarding the quarterback position, that's been the big mystery all along, is that Jim played that position in college and in the pros. Apparently he was, I think, Rich Gannon's quarterback's coach and for the Raiders that one year. They went to the Super Bowl, and that's supposed to have been his specialty, quote unquote. So
we've had that conversation. I completely think that is a false positive.
Okay.
That's what I think that is.
But that's been one of the head scratchers all along, is that that's supposed to have been his. He played that position, so how could he not develop talent personally?
That's the narrative.
Yep.
And just because you play the position doesn't mean you know how to develop the position.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the narrative, but I think we've definitely debunked that theory.
Okay. All right, Alex. So I think we're gonna wrap up there. I want to thank you. Okay, we'll do one more. We got one more comment here, and then we'll shut it down. This is from Jairus Hunter again. What do you think Joe needs to do to become a better quarterback?
Let's start with reading defenses first. Let's start there. But again, from what I see, I don't think he can. And I've said this from game one. I don't think he can read defenses. I don't think he anticipates throws. Some of those things can be taught. Some of those things are just some people naturally have it. Some of it can be taught to a certain point. I don't know if he has that short intermediate passing in his game or not. I'm curious to see if he does, because if he does, I'd be really, really pissed off if I was him. If he has that in his game and you saw McNamara go out there and sling it the way he did, I'd be super pissed if I was him.
Well,
because I'm not getting the same opportunity as this kid. So I would be very upset.
Well, that first McNamara touchdown pass to Cornelius, wasn't that him anticipating or throwing Cornelius open there?
Yeah, but look at the drops. It's the drops. It's the drops that matter. It's the two-step balls out. Where with Joe, it's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, read, throw. It's a completely different scheme. It's a completely different way to attack a defense. And
so what you're saying is that throw was not available for Joe when Joe was in there. That particular play was not available for him.
I don't think so, no. At least, the way, like I was saying before, the way that they attacked the defense, they were attacking down the field. And the drops were a lot deeper for Joe than they were for McNamara. They were a lot deeper. And I don't know if I don't know why that is. I don't know why. I just know what I saw. And when I see 1, 2 step, 1 second and a half second, ball's out, and he's throwing people open. But with Joe, it's 1, 2, 3, and I'm looking, scanning, fire. It's completely different thought process of how they were attacking the Rutgers defense.
Now, Alex, here's another one. It is, and we can't know this, but is Cade changing the play right there at the line?
Nah.
For what he wants?
Nah.
Okay.
He's not changing the play. This is a scheme thing. But I'm glad that they did it though. Like, I'm glad that, because that's their job. Like, that's what they're supposed to do. When a team has you figured out, you throw a wrinkle in there, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's what good coaches do. So I'm happy that they did that. I just wish that, maybe they could have went to it with Joe, and if Joe wasn't able to do it, then you make the switch, as opposed to making the switch and then switching the way you're attacking the defense as well. I understand both sides, because you don't know with this kid what he's going to be able to do. So, if you go with option A of what I said, where you see if Joe can do it, and if Joe can't do it, then we'll bring Cade in because maybe he can do it. If you do it that way, it gives the defense time to adjust because you know what they're trying to do. But I don't know if Joe can take. I don't know if he knows how to take a 2-step drop and let the ball go.
Okay, but Alex, I hate to belabor this, but this is part of this analysis. Can't Cade go to the line of scrimmage, look at what they're doing, and tell the wide receiver, okay, you got a safety on you, just go, and I'll get it to you, regardless of what play Gaddis and Jim send in there? Can he look at that receiver and say, okay?
He can, right? But I don't know. So when you're a quarterback, like the defensive coordinator can or the offensive coordinator can talk to you so many seconds before the play. Like, I think it's like they can talk to you up to 15 seconds before the play clock expires or something like that. It's something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with him, I don't think that could be the case. I don't think it's the case, but it could be the case. I think for somebody as young as he is, just getting into the offense, I don't think that they would have given him that type of responsibility, because they don't give Joe that type of responsibility. So I don't see that. They're always looking to the sidelines. What is the offense seeing? Okay, we're going to check this route, check that route, move this protection, slide it this way, slide it that way. Identify who's the mic, things like that. So I don't necessarily think that Cade has that freedom. A starter typically has that freedom, but Joe doesn't have that freedom. So if Joe doesn't have that freedom, it'd be hard for me to believe that Cade would have that freedom to do that.
Okay. Abdul Gain says, what do we say if Michigan wins 2 of its final 3 games to finish 4-4? Reason for optimism. I don't know.
4-4 is not optimism, man. 4-4 is not optimism.
Okay, coincidentally, we have a commenter here named Cade. So Cade Sawinski says Joe isn't accurate, and he says Cade can sense a blitz and get the ball out. So this kind of falls on my side of what happened.
But that's the scheme. That's the adjustment. That's the adjustment that I was talking about. They blitz with their linebackers. They run stunts and blitz almost every single down. How do you stop a blitz? You throw quick outs from where the blitz is coming from. That means the linebackers have to maybe half a second slower to a second slower. And if the defensive coordinator is seeing that, where they're throwing the ball where the defense is coming from, you have to adjust to that, which means that you can't blitz with the linebackers like you typically do. Which is why, when they're running stunts, you got 6 guys coming, you got five guys there to block. you know, when you run a stunt, you got guy coming this way, he switches and goes around, and he's in Joe's lap in like 2 seconds before he even has a chance to get the ball back or ball out because he's taking 5-step drops. And that's how you typically attack a very aggressive defense who likes to blitz. So I think that's scheme. I don't think that's Cade. That's scheme. Because they didn't do that when Milt was in the game. They only did it when Cade was in the game. That's a scheming thing.
Okay, so at this point, everyone, we're going to shut it down. I have to get ready for another live stream over on my science channel. If you, Alex, you were interested in my other channels, I left those in the description box below for this particular live stream.
Okay, cool.
Everyone, whether or not I go live next week, it'll depend on if Buffalo Wild Wings on Niagara Falls Boulevard is open. Bill Gaines says that it is.
Till 10, he said.
Till 10. So unless it gets locked down, we'll be there watching it, and I'll do something before and then after the game. Alex, as always a pleasure. Appreciate you coming on. I couldn't go 2 hours by myself.
Of course.
So I appreciate the insight and the feedback. And again, people, we're not talking about anything here for all of the pro gym and, you know, things will turn around, people. We're not talking about anything here that anyone else isn't talking about in terms of the program, what's wrong with the program and how to fix the program and those kinds of things. So we're not here to pile on the program. I want to see the program do well. And the Ohio State fans want to see the program do well, except for when we play them.
No, we still want the program to do it. We just want to get the crap out of you. That's all. We just want to beat you when you're good. It's not fun beating when you're bad. It's like right now, if I was to go outside and go play basketball against my son who's 5, who do you think would win? Like it's you know, he's at a complete disadvantage. And that's kind of what it's like, you know, as opposed to if I'm playing somebody who's my age, entering their 40s, and you know has played some collegiate basketball in their career. Like that would be fun. Like those are the games I'm like, oh, like I'm not gonna cheer about beating my son who's 5 years old. Like that's just not the thing to do.
Okay. So if you're watching this on the playback and you want to make a donation, I just left my Cash App in the chat. That's going to be below the video as well. If you're new and you're watching this on the playback, please like the stream and please subscribe. I'm sitting at 452 right now. Everyone, enjoy the rest. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. Go Bills. And enjoy your Thanksgiving week as best you can. Once again, I appreciate you guys all coming in here. You know, this is part of how I've been able to deal with the current situation. You know, we're forming a little community here and a little group here. So this means a lot to me, and I've enjoyed this as much as hopefully you all have enjoyed it. Please like, share, subscribe. Go Blue, or whatever your school is. And always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. Peace. We are out.
Have a good one. Everybody be safe out there.
All right.